Hi everyone, it's Dragon Crake aka Leo O'Brien, and today, well, I just finished watching the episode 10 of Wizards. And let's just say, I'm a little disappointed with Wizards. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a great series. I just think it could have been a little better. What's the story? It's about Dukesy. He's Merlin's apprentice and he's learned to become a wizard. Him, Jim, and the gang must travel back in time to learn more history, and Dukesy must become, the wizard he was promised to be. I think the story, it's good, but I feel at times it was kind of trying way too hard to be like Avengers Endgame, the way they travel back in time. And I feel like they kind of spend way too much time in the past, and it kind of made the series, a little less interesting and feel much more of a prequel than a sequel. I think the stuff with Morgana, how she was turned evil, that stuff is absolutely fantastic. I really like that stuff. But I think some things of this season just felt so repetitive, and it was even repeating things from the Troll Hunters trilogy. I also think, the stuff like with the first Troll Hunter, that stuff's good too. It reminds me so much of Legend of Korra, the way we learn about the first ever Avatar. So I guess that was good. I just feel the time travel stuff, kind of ruined the series, originality. Well, not really originality. It just felt, too much of a prequel. And some things, I don't know why, but why do I feel like it broke some continuity? I don't know why I feel that, but, God. I do think the story's good. Like, I think it's best, when it's taking place in the present day, where Tree Below Part 2 left. But I just think, for the most part, the series spends way too much time in the past, and it makes the series just feel too much prequely, just not much of a sequel. And I didn't like that. I also just wish, they could have spent more time in Arcadia. But that's just my opinion. The story's good, but it just could have been slightly better. I do love the ending, and it is a really nice ending. But I do think DreamWorks is starting to take Tales of Arcadia way too downhill. But I'll talk about that in a moment. So the story's good. It is pretty good. It's well written. It's well told. But as I said, some things I think just could have been done better. It's not rushed, thankfully. It's 10 episodes, and nothing really felt rushed. I think they told the story, pacily, pacing wise, fine. I just think they spend way too much time in the past. But some stuff is good, some stuff is just just unnecessary. But it's good. Like I like what they did with it. The animation is amazing. The visuals are beautiful. DreamWorks have really cared about the visuals with Tales of Arcadia. This is such a beautiful looking TV series, and definitely one of their best visuals out there. Well, maybe not best like visuals ever, but for TV wise it is. It's just so beautiful. It's so crystal clear, and the colors are just fantastic. Like the finale, I think, is the best looking episode because they put so much effort into the animation. Every episode does look great, but the finale, I think, on a visual level, is just gorgeous. Like the animation is just phenomenal. It's beautiful. It's pretty. It's one of the best looking TV shows out there. Characters are pretty good. I liked Dukesy. He was very, very likable. I liked his character arc and journey. I liked how he was learning to become a wizard. I thought that was done really, really cool, and I really liked what they did with him. Archie is he's so cool. I really like Archie. He's not really in the show a whole lot. He's in, the most important parts, but other than that, he's not you don't see a lot of him. But he's in it, a good chunk of it. I really loved Darchi. He's voiced by Alfred Molina, and I think this is the best role Alfred Molina has done for a DreamWorks TV show. He's a really cool character. He's my favorite character in this series. I liked Jim in this series. I loved how they wrapped his character up. I loved what they did with that. I loved the ending with Jim, but I didn't like what they did with Jim in the middle part of the series. I think what they did with Jim. I just didn't like. I loved how they wrapped him up, yes, but I was not happy with what they did with Jim. In the mid part of the series, I just didn't like that. I thought that was awful. Claire is good. I liked Claire. I think this is probably her best role of the series. I know I liked what they did with Claire. I thought she was pretty good. Toby isn't really in the series a whole lot. He's only in bits and pieces, and that's about it. But I feel he's not. You don't see a lot of Toby, so that was a bit of a disappointment. Same with Arg and Blinky. You do see them now. You do see the past versions of Blinky and Arg. That's good, but you don't see a lot of Blinky and Arg from the present, so that was a bit of a disappointment. And Steve, he certain I no Steve served no purpose. He's meant to be a comic relief, but he serves no purpose whatsoever in the Wizards narrative. He does nothing. He's just there to crack jokes, and he served nothing. He wasn't really that funny. The humor of the series was okay, but it wasn't really terrible. It just wasn't that funny. It was just chuckle worthy, I guess. But Steve is just no, Steve is very just no. He could have easily been taken out. The new characters are pretty good. I did like Morgana. Now, Morgana, I think, was fantastic. Like I said, the story arc with her, I thought was brilliant. They really did a great job explaining how Morgana turned evil. That stuff was really fascinating. And it was nice to see Gunmar and Bular again. From the trailers, I was afraid that they were just going to bring them back from the death. And I'm actually happy that they didn't do that. It's just, them from the past. So I thought that was cool. Most of the characters I thought were kind of bland. The new villains I don't really care for. Now I know they're setting them up for something, so that's fine. But I thought here they were just kind of bland and just kind of forgettable. They were all right at best, but just not really all that interesting. So, Wizards, and the soundtrack is pretty good too. I quite like the soundtrack. But before I give my overall opinion, I want to talk about Trollhunters Rise of the Titans. Trollhunters Rise of the Titans is said to be the big epic finale. It's going to be a movie. It's going to be a movie coming out in 2021 on Netflix, and it's going to conclude everything. I honestly think, now, don't get me wrong, I think this is going to be probably a really great film. I think they'll definitely wrap everything up, but this is part of the reason I just think I'm a little slightly disappointed in Wizards. It's just, DreamWorks, I think, is starting to go way too downhill because Wizards was promised as the finale. It's actually been a long time coming, as you can see in this picture I'm showing right now. It was supposed to come out in 2019, but it obviously got delayed. It was promised to be the big epic finale, and it's not the big epic finale. It's just a setup for a big movie. I just think, like, what's the point of promising this as a finale when we're going to get a Netflix original film next year? I just think that's ridiculous. Now, I am excited to see that movie. I think they're probably going to wrap things up really well, but I just don't see what's the point of promising this as the finale when we have a Netflix movie coming out next year. It's just pointless. Like, I just think that was ridiculous. But overall, I really liked Wizards, even if I do think it's a slight disappointment. I just think some things just could have been better, and it's not as strong as Troll Hunters. It's a big improvement over Three Below. It's still a great, fantastic series, and I highly recommend it. But I do really like it. I just think some things could have been done a lot better. I don't know what I'd give it. I'm kind of debating between a 9 or an 8. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 because there are some flaws which, it's still fantastic, don't get me wrong, I highly recommend it, I still really liked it. Some things just, I can't deny it had flaws and it's not as good as Troll Hunters, but it's still, a great series. So for that, I'm going to give Wizards an 8 out of 10. It's still very good. I still, really recommend it. I really liked it. It was worth the wait enough, but I just think some things could have been better. But, we'll wait until Troll Hunters The Rise of the Titans, and then that'll be it for the Tales of Arcadia arc, and I can't wait to see that, come out, and then Tales of Arcadia will be over. Because I honestly think Tales of Arcadia is now starting to become dragged out, but that's just me. I am excited to see the film. I'll definitely do a trailer analysis if we do get a trailer soon, but, I just think DreamWorks is starting to take the series way too downhill and drag it out. But what did you guys think of Wizards? Did you like it? Tell me what you guys thought in the comments below. See you guys for our next video, and until then guys, skadoosh everyone and take care.